Middle-earth, home to many diverse races, from wizards to hobbits, goblins to dwarves, orcs to elves. Many stories have been created and developed in the world of Tolkien. To delve into the world, you can start here with Dagora TV.
One of the greatest of the Noldor, bearer of the Nenya, the Ring of Water, mind reader and fortune teller, Lady Galadriel was seen as a safe haven in the lands of Middle-earth. Born far away from Middle-earth, later to rule her own province, then to become a ring bearer. This is her story. Born in the Years of the Trees, one of the three great time periods before the creation of Arda, following the Years of the Lamps and yet prior to the Years of the Sun, which was the years that brought light to the entirety of Middle-earth. Galadriel was a keen intellect, and in her younger years always seeking tales of faraway lands. The tales she was specifically interested in was of a mysterious land called Middle-earth, which she learnt from her uncle Fëanor. The way Galadriel spoke of this green land with tall mountains and deep caverns made Galadriel wish to travel here and possibly lead a province of her own. Galadriel's talents first came to light during the rebellion of the Noldor. Before we discover her involvement, it is essential to know that the fair lady never swore any oaths nor promises to any participants in the conflict. The rebellion of the Noldor was a historic event during the Elder Days where Fëanor and his brothers rebelled against the Valar and other elvish kindred and swearing to receive Fëanor's Silmarils, which had recently been stolen by the Dark Lord Morgoth. Through a long conflict between the two, Fëanor and Fingolfin went to live in Middle-earth, and a kingslaying at Aqualonde was arranged. The kingslaying was going to be the first killing of an elf that has the act that banned the Noldor from Aman for centuries. Galadriel refused to attend the kingslaying and needed to flee Aman to avoid any persecution on her part. So she left with a few close followers. Galadriel travelled to Helcarax, which is described to be an icy hell between Aman and Middle-earth, and also known to be as the Grinding Ice. She left Helcarax to travel to the northwestern Middle-earth in the First Age 52 to a settlement named Beleriand, and lived with her brother Finrod. It was here where she met Celeborn, a kinsman to the great Thingol, whom is the High King of the Sindar. Lady Galadriel had three brothers, Finrod, Angrod, and Aegnor. All three were killed in battles close to her arrival at Beleriand. During her time of grieving for her brothers, she became a close friend with Melian the Mayor. She is the mother of Luthien, who is also the mother of Lord Elrond. Melian's interest in Galadriel arose as she wished to learn of the exile of the Noldor. Galadriel played a fairly insignificant role in the remainder of the First Age, as she did not want to be involved in the events of Lord Morgoth. The reason she believed that he was beyond the power of the Eldar. When Morgoth was defeated by Valar, she was offered a safe return to Valinor, as she was abandoned at the time of the kingslaying. Yet she rejected the offer, as she had plans to marry Celeborn and experience more of her life on Middle-earth. After her marriage to Celeborn in the First Age, they both travelled to the port city Lindon and ruled over a group of elves in Gil-galad's province, and in this time becoming more active in the events of Middle-earth. In the Second Age 750, Galadriel and Celeborn travelled east to establish a kingdom of Eregion, which is west of the Misty Mountains and a small distance of the Mines of Moria. For 400 years, Eregion was one of the most prosperous kingdoms in Middle-earth, and they established strong, peaceful links with the dwarves in Moria. In the Second Age, 1350, Celeborn heard of a green land in the valley on the banks of Anduin for the two to rule over. They decided to leave for this country and left a great elven smith in charge of Eregion named Celebrimbor. Galadriel and Celeborn named this new country Lothlorien. Soon after their arrival, Galadriel and Celeborn had their first child, a female named Galadriel, who later went to marry Lord Elrond of Rivendell. The pair gave Galadriel 2 grandsons named Eladan and Elrohir, and a granddaughter named Lady Arwen. Meanwhile, Celebrimbor, who was left in charge of Eregion, was deceived by Maer Annatar to craft 3 rings of power that were later left in the hands of the elves. Maer Annatar was Sauron in his fair form, and was generally trusted by the citizens of Middle-earth. However, Galadriel took a deep mistrust of him, which later turned to be true. When Sauron's malicious ways came to light, it was Galadriel that counselled and comforted Celebrimbor after he had sustained torture from the Dark Lord Sauron for many days. When Eregion was attacked from the Dark Lord's forces, the 3 rings were hidden. Galadriel was entrusted with Nenya, the Ring of Water. She was wishing to thwart the power of the ring as Sauron was conscious of her ownership. When Sauron was powerful, she did not openly use the powers of the ring. When Sauron was defeated at the Battle of Dagorlad, and the One Ring was lost from his grasp, she was more open with her usage of the ring. Galadriel ruled quietly in the peaceful realm of Lothlorien until the Third Age 2463, when the White Council was formed. Its holders was Gandalf the Grey, Lady Galadriel, Lord Elrond, and Saruman the White. Galadriel wished that Gandalf would take ownership of the council. However, the leadership fell to the leader of the Istari, Saruman the White. She put forth her might in the opposition of the Dark Lord Sauron, and was keen to investigate any evidence of his presence. Galadriel was key in the White Council's sacking of Dol Guldur, where Sauron the Necromancer was removed from the abandoned fortress. Since he was removed, Galadriel kept heavy vigilance over the area. During the War of the Ring, Lady Galadriel hosted the Fellowship of the Ring after the supposed death of Gandalf the Grey, after they had passed through the mines of Moria. During this, she allowed Frodo and Sam to peer through the Mirror of Galadriel, and she was deeply tested by Frodo when he offered her to take the One Ring. To illustrate to Frodo what would happen if she took the ring, she presented a dark image of herself and graciously declined the opportunity to take the ring. When she returned, she also appeared frailer, and came to the realization that the dominion of elves was over, and that the time of the men had come. So Celeborn and Galadriel finally planned on returning to Valinor. As the Fellowship left her country, she bed each of them with gifts. She gave Sam a seed of the main tree in Lorien, named Malon, a great stone set in silver to Aragorn, belts to Merry, Pippin, and Boromir, also the bow of Galadriel to Legolas, and the light of Elendil to Frodo. Gimli asked Galadriel for a single golden hair off her head. She gave him 3. The reason she gave 3 was Feanor asked her for a single hair off her head on 3 separate occasions, as she declared she would only give one to those she sees good inside, so to Gimli she gave 3. After the departure of the Fellowship, Galadriel acted to ensure the success of the Fellowship. First she summoned Gwaihir, Lord of the Eagles, to retrieve Gandalf to Lorien. When Gandalf was sick, she comforted and nursed him back to health. When Gandalf was healed, she dressed him in a white cloak to symbolize him as the new leader of the Istari. During the time of the War of the Ring, Lorien was attacked on 3 separate occasions, and was weakened each of the 3 times, but as a nation it stood strong and defended the borders of Lorien from the encroaching forces from the Dark Lord. It was said that Galadriel's ring could not be overpowered only if Sauron came into battle with her. After the fall of Sauron, Lady Galadriel and Thranduil of the Woodland Realm tore down the abandoned fortress of Dol Guldur to its pits, so that it could never be inhabited again. Later in the era, she visited Minas Tirith for the wedding of her granddaughter Lady Arwen to the new High King of Gondor and Arnor, Aragorn. She continued living in Lorien until the Third Age of 3021, where she travelled to the Grey Havens, and with the remaining elven ring-bearers she took a ship to the Undying Lands whence she came long ago.
Middle-earth Home to many diverse races, from wizards to hobbits, goblins to dwarves, orcs to elves, many stories have been created and developed in the world of Tolkien. To delve into the world, you can start here with Dagora TV.
All six of you, I am Luca, and this is...
And I'm Connor, and yeah, this is a new Game of Thrones podcast. I haven't really decided what to call it.
No, not yet, no. So if you want to submit a comment, maybe suggesting a name, that would be great, because it's bound to be better than anything that we've come up with.
I think the best I've got so far was the podcast device and fire, but
Yeah.
I don't know.